Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club, your number one stop for stellar reviews of volumes, arcs, or stories that us or yourselves choose. You can find us live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and the replay on all podcast networks. Take a seat, get yourselves and your opinions ready, as it's time to join the herd. But first, please put your hands together for your hosts, Shane, Phil, Scott, and Martin, as they kick off this week's discussion.
Hello, Shane.
Are you there, Shane?
Muted.
I didn't mute myself. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. Ahoy, and welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. I'm your host this week, as it's my pick, and I'm joined as always by the three musketeers. We have Phil up here.
What's up, nerds?
We have Martin over there.
Evening all.
And next to me, we have Scott.
Sup, nerds, evening all.
Oh, Thief.
Copyrighted.
At me, come on.
So yes, it's my pick, and this week I have chosen Blackest Night from DC Comics from 2009. This is issues 0 to 8. Issue 0 was a free comic book day issue, so it was only a few pages. And if you missed it out, if your graphic novel doesn't have it, it's not going to be a massive deal. This was, of course, written by Geoff Johns, the amazing Geoff Johns, with art by Ivan Reis and colors by Alex Sinclair. They do an amazing job. In my opinion, I'm already going to be gushing over it. So before I do that, let me give a quick synopsis and then we'll see who's in the chat and say hello. So Blackest Night tells the story of Necron, the entity of death who has been around since the dawn of time, and he has been annoyed ever since life sprung from the Big Bang because he wants to be left alone, he wants silence, he wants peace, he wants none of it. So he has decided to use Black Hand to resurrect all the heroes and villains on Earth using Black Lantern rings to help him erase every life form in the entire universe so he can go back to sleep. During this, we have Barry Allen's Flash, who's recently come back to life. We have Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, who's recently come back to life. They have to team up and try and stop him. They separate. Hal Jordan goes off to go and unite every member of the Lantern Corps, the Red Lanterns, Yellow Lanterns, the Green Lanterns, the Blue Lanterns, the newly discovered Indigo Lanterns, and of course the Star Sapphires. And he's going to have to also convince Larfleeze of the Orange Lanterns to help as well. While he's off doing that in space, Flash is dealing with the aftermath of the rings, who has brought back dozens of heroes and villains. And Necron and the Black Hand have discovered a slight loophole in the Black Lantern rings. If you have died and come back to life, they can also take over. So that means Superman, Wonder Woman, Superboy, Donna Troy, and an array of other heroes who are recently returned now get Black Lantern rings and become an even bigger threat to the Flash. So they have to, team up and try and stop this. And that's pretty much what happens in this book. It is an all-out war between life and death in hopes of a brighter day for tomorrow. So yes, it about sums it up.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. Let's say a quick... I should work for DC.
Mate, yeah.
20 years ago, I should work for DC 20 years ago. Let me say a quick hello to, of course, the Funky Gibbons, who's in, always first in. Hi, Liam. Thanks for joining. He says, Heidi-ho, unfortunately can't make it tonight, and this book will go down as only my second or third of this season that I haven't read. Sorry, guys. Have a great show. I look forward to catching up. Hasn't read it.
Oh, my God. Out of
I
all
thought he
the
was at
books
least
to
going to
miss.
say he read it. Yeah, I'm so shocked. We also have Kevin Wells in. He says, hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. I'm so sorry. My mouse is very laggy. There we go. There's Kevin. Thanks for joining. So to kick us off, I think Scott and Martin, you haven't read it before, have you? This is your first time reading.
Yes.
Phil, I believe this is your second time, so we'll get to Phil in a sec. I'm interested to see what the newbies think of this. With Martin being a massive DC fan, he'll already have some sort of knowledge, so I'm interested. Scott, can you please tell us
Oh,
your initial thoughts on this
Ooh.
one, please?
so this was really, really good. This was a really, really, really good book. First of all, we'll say it's a Flash story, and I'll bring it. Yep, absolutely chuffed at that. I didn't expect, like, I knew Flash was in it, because of how old this book is now. Would you say like 20 years old, maybe? When was it out? No, when was it out?
So it's about 16.
Nearly 20 years.
Yeah, so
20 years, yeah.
So I've obviously had the odd spoiler now and again. Like, I knew Flash was in it. I knew he was going to become a Blue Lantern, and stuff like that. So, but despite that, this was such a good story. This was actually the first time in a very, very long time that I've actually felt excitement whilst reading a book. Like, you're reading through, the way the writing felt in some parts felt like epic and almost like cinematic, and it was just like, oh my god, I'm actually feeling something reading this book. And so obviously that sits very well with me. Stunning, absolutely beautiful. I don't know if we've read any other books done by Ivan Reis. I can't. Nothing comes to mind straight away. Anything that we've done on the show. So this may be the first time I've read his read his art. But it was stunning all the way through, consistent. Nothing felt rushed. Everything just looked amazing and stunning. I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm feeling like I'm already doing my verdict. Look, it was great. Let's move on. I had a great time.
Awesome. Martin, this is your first time reading this.
Yeah, first time reading it, but not my first time with the story. I said to Shane before we started the show, I played a lot of DC Universe Online, the MMO, and one of the stories in this is War of the Light, and Blackest Night is one of the stories they cover. So I had a rough idea of what goes on, but I've not read the source material. But reading it is so much better than the adaptation on the MMO. The story is great. The characters are amazing. A lot of my favorite characters are the focal point of this story, so that just makes things even better. The writing was, as Scott said, epic from start to finish. It was a amazing event.
You called it an event. We were talking before we went live, and you read the foreword in
from Geoff Johns. This is my opinion, not from Geoff Johns. But yeah. This was a great event. The artwork was stunning throughout in multiple pages, not just your 1 page, 2 page spreads. Even panels were fantastic. The fact that we've got every lantern across the spectrum covered in this book. There's so many characters. If you're a Green Lantern fan, if you're a Flash fan, this is a book for you.
So go back a little bit. What did Geoff Johns say?
Geoff Johns, I've kept the page open.
Please don't
I'll try and cut it down. So he says in this foreword, I was honoured with the task of returning Hal Jordan to his rightful role as Green Lantern in Green Lantern Rebirth, but bringing Hal Jordan back wasn't my goal. He was the cornerstone to a greater mythology, unmatched in his scope within the DC universe of the DC Comics and beyond. He then says, to a little bit further down, I don't want to go too far deep it. Although Blackest Night will no doubt be dubbed as an event, it is and has always been a story I've wanted to tell since I took the reins of Green Lantern. So it was not something.
Class it as an event.
Yeah,
mate, it's an event.
It's
and he just says one last thing. He said just this little segment. I know that comics dubbed events can disappoint both on a retail level and a fan level. I know the frustration of the delay and the accessibility. Artist Ivan Reis who will be illustrating Blackest Night, and Doug Mankey, the new penciler on Green Lantern, beginning in July, will be working with me day and night to bring you a superhero epic worth reading.
Well,
And it
he
was.
definitely delivered. Well, we say that. Phil, what did you think of this?
Well, allow me just to highlight a comment that Kevin made. I think I may have read a different book. Haha. So this is technically speaking, my second time reading this book. The first time I read this book, my wife was in labor, so I needed something to pass the time, but I was quite busy, on that day. So it didn't get my full attention. Given it my full attention today, I missed these guys earlier today. I actually started reading the wrong book. I purchased a book called Green Lantern Blackest Night on eBay, thinking this is great. I'm going to have a hardcover to read for this episode. I read 3 issues and I thought, this is crap. And I don't remember a single thing of this. And so I managed to read the 8 issues for tonight. And I'm still of the same opinion. I don't think it's as I'm thinking I've read the same book, because going by Martin and Scott's reactions, I don't have that at all. I just find it really confusing. One thing I don't like about DC stuff in general is there's so many characters involved. I don't know half of them, nor do I care for any of them. Flash stuff was great, by the way. I thought the Flash. I mean, I'm not a big Barry Allen fan, but he was the star of the book for me. And Hal Jordan isn't even the best Green Lantern. John Stewart? He's better. Jessica Cruz, she's better.
Carl Reiner, he's better. Let's just name all the other Green Lanterns.
Yeah. I just the story went, and I give us good moments, but there's a lot of confusion moments as well. At one stage, it kept going back and forth between Necron and the Hand and the heroes and whatever else, and then they had Luther wanting all the rings, and then it just became a lot to take in my opinion. There are elements I like to it, don't get me wrong. The art was stunning. I've always been a fan of Ivan. Is it Reis or Rice, or how do you pronounce it again?
I said Reis, but I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, I said Reis as well.
But I've always liked his art, and it doesn't falter here really. It is a bit inconsistent in my opinion. I think there are pages that are better than others. I'm not saying he rushed through things or anything like that, but as Geoff Johns said in his foreword, that events could be disappointing because they're let down by delays and stuff, where he obviously was on this throughout and it was fine. But I do think there's a bit of inconsistency with the art, but generally it is very, very good. So I feel like I've read a different book than Scott and Martin, because I don't have that same enthusiasm that I thought I was going to have.
Do you remember when we read Identity Crisis?
Yep.
Yeah, so that ties in.
Same Kingdom Come, I had the same problem of all the different heroes. That's just a struggle with it.
But we read Identity Crisis, and Sue Dibney died in that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And she comes back in this.
Mm-hmm.
So do you not see, did you not feel when you saw her come back in the Elongated Man? I mean, obviously you don't know what happened to Elongated Man because you'd missed the storyline in between. But knowing what happened to Sue in Identity Crisis and then seeing her as a Black Lantern, didn't you feel anything? Didn't it?
No.
I didn't feel anything, and I don't usually do with stuff like this, so I can't put it at a fault of the book. But what I'm pleased about is the fact that I can link it back. I do know what's happened. I do know why she was dead and she was risen. That's part of the reason why I enjoy reading stuff like this. It's such a massive history of things. I just like knowing key points in the history of publishers.
Yeah, and I think it can be a little bit confusing. There is so much going on. There are so many characters, and I get that. I think for me, obviously, it was at a time where I was reading everyone. I was reading all the titles, so this sort of just flowed for me, but I get it.
So much so that there's so many characters that Connie has had to make her comment 3 times. The same comment about she didn't want a single clue half these characters were 3 times over. Just
Yes. Hi, Connie, as well, by the way. Hello. Thanks for joining.
just to touch on what you said about like Sue coming back from the dead. There's so much stuff in here as well tied into the overall DC universe. Like the Hawkman, Hawkgirl stuff, the Kendra stuff. I don't even know who that other person was at the end who showed up at the end. I have no idea. I have no clue. There's other things like the Atom, his issue with Ronnie. Who the hell's Ronnie? Ronnie, whatever you call him. And you have
Ronnie Raymond.
Firestorm.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
the
know.
other half of Firestorm.
Storm.
Who's Firestorm? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think
Mate,
whenever
grow up.
I think whenever the Nerd Herd started, right, we all had our kind of thing. Scott was like the indie guy. Shane was the DC guy. I never thought I was anything, but was probably more Marvel. Even Martin, our discussions, I think you're more DC.
I'm a DC guy, yeah.
I'm definitely thinking I'm just not a DC guy. I love Batman, but you think of all the Batman stories that I've picked. They're all standalone, self-contained stories. This is the opposite. This is taking in the whole universe. It's hard for me to get on board with it. It was cool. I had cool moments, cool action, but it's just I don't care for a lot of these people.
I can appreciate that because I feel like that with Marvel. There's certain characters I gravitate to with Marvel, but with DC, I feel like I'm losing track of how many characters I like with DC. I love so much of them. So I do understand where you're coming from that point of view, with so many in there.
But even the ones that were there, like Superman, like it wasn't until issue 5 till he showed up, and then he didn't really play a part. Really, not really. He wasn't really involved. Power Girl was all of a sudden on the page. I don't even remember her showing up. I just seen Power Girl and her assets in the background somewhere, but she wasn't part of the story. You just seem to kind of get all these things, throw them on a page, put them all together. Like every hero and every villain almost was in this book. Because
it was to show the scale. It was to show the scale of the event. You know,
and I get it, but I just like even the whole Batman thing. I get at the end where they realize that's not the real Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne isn't dead; he is alive. Because I think this is the time where he's traveling through space or something, isn't he? He's traveling through time or whatever it is.
Traveling through time, yes.
Yeah. So he's gone, and this book shows that this isn't real Bruce Wayne. He's still alive somewhere. I get that, but again, if you don't know these things and you haven't read it, you're not going to really take it in as maybe you should do. I definitely think this book is definitely catered for more big DC fans, and of course, people who have read the Green Lantern Geoff Johns run, which, by the way, is 3 big omnibuses plus the 2 event books.
I'd class it as 5 because you're going to probably want Green Lantern Corps as well.
Yeah,
this isn't an event.
It's definitely an event.
According to Geoff Johns.
According to Geoff Johns, yeah.
Kevin does say, I think he's agreeing with you a bit there, Phil. He says, I found this to be a chore, but I'm not a fan of Green Lantern and don't have a massive attachment to the DCU, so this book wasn't really for me, which is fair, absolutely fair. I think as a massive DC fan, I felt like this book was for me. And Tottenham Gaming is making a point there, Phil. He says, if Batman had been at the start of Blackest Night, the story would have been over in a single issue. Because we all know really Batman would have stopped it straight away.
But this is the thing,
Batman would shut it down.
It was 8 issues, and I think, I haven't commented yet, but some of them are quite dense. There's a lot of words on some of the pages in these books, and I definitely feel like they could have condensed it more, like in 6 issues. I don't think they needed a lot of the kind of, again, I mentioned the Hawkman, Hawkgirl drama, even the stuff of Hal Jordan and Carol. Like who is Carol? You don't know.
Carol Parrish is his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Star Sapphire.
Yeah. Obviously, the book
I get it.
It's just I don't know who she is type of thing, and there's other wee dramas that are kind of thrown in that probably do spin off in the other books, like events do. They tend to spin off in other series elsewhere, and that's just where I have a problem with it. And I also feel like this has been done, even though this is 20 years ago. This has been done like a million times. This kind of story, but I like the story. You know, like the evil dark black ring taking over the death people and whatever else. But that kind of thing's been done. Like Deceased, almost. It's kind of similar in a way.
Yeah,
Stop
but
reading my notes.
King in Black.
Deceased is, but all that stuff. No. They are copying Blackest Night. Yeah, you're saying this has been done. No, it hadn't been done at the time.
No,
2009,
I get that.
It hadn't.
But in terms of the order I've read them in, this comes last. But also, they're better.
No,
This
I
is
have to strongly
the
disagree.
foundation of that kind of, what am I trying to say? Not genre, but you know what I'm trying to say? That kind of like that storyline, I guess, that the blueprint of this story.
Yeah, open the door. You wouldn't have Marvel
yeah.
Zombies without this.
Yeah, and I've written down Deceased as well. I was like, oh, I wonder if Tom Taylor took inspiration from this.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the
See-
only twist is they can get the living as well with these rings. I thought that was a great twist.
See, my biggest gripe is actually the opposite of Phil's gripe. I don't feel like I got enough.
Yeah,
That
take
is-
that, Phil.
You have a
That-
bigger
that-
brain than me then, Martin, because
that is-
I
that's
struggle to
what-
take this in.
Those 8 issues were amazing, but as soon as I got to, sorry, I made a note. It was in between issue 4 and 5, where you see Hal Jordan had rallied the rest of the head of the Lantern Corps together. First question I had was, well, what happened in between this? So
There's a 3-issue miniseries that follows that.
exactly, and that's why I feel like I never got enough. For me, I would have happily, if I had the time, would have gone back and read every single tying issue for this story because I enjoyed it that much.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like this being Geoff Johns, he obviously did. Wait, did he? Flashpoint? Yeah, he wrote Flashpoint.
He did, yeah.
And the Flashpoint, you know, the book itself is 5 issues long. Flashpoint is 5 issues, but all the tie-ins, I think it's like either 72 or 75 issues long, right? I've read them all, and I'm so happy I did. And I read it in order, and I'm so happy I did. And reading this, I know it was Geoff Johns, and I was like, well, obviously this is going to have a lot of tie-ins. So I looked it up, and there are a lot. I've seen the omnibus. It's huge. It's like 1,000 pages or something like that. And it then, because I know how much I enjoyed Flashpoint, I'm like, I want to read all the tie-ins now. But the kind of point I'm trying to get at is I was okay with not reading the tie-ins. I thought this was paced really well, and you could clearly tell you had missed things, but I think it did a good job at, you know, you're not left really wondering exactly what happened.
No, because
Like-
he says, I'm going to go get I'm going to go get all the lanterns.
Yeah.
And then a couple issues later, he comes back with all the lanterns. So, you know,
Da-da-da-da.
you know something must have happened, but to keep this story going, and DC was quite good at this at the time. Their event books, no matter how many tie-ins they had, you could just read the event books and get the entire story. You know, he didn't have anything major happen in the other titles so that you had to follow them. And DC was really good with that. Infinite Crisis does it. You can just read the 7 issues of Infinite Crisis. You don't need to read every single tie-in with that. Blackest Night, Final Crisis. You know, they did it really well. And then I think after New 52, they just started doing it where you had to follow every single issue on to get the whole story. And that's when their events just lost me.
Also, DC was very nice when I read the single issues. I read them digitally. They were very nice at the end of the first 1 or 2 issues to actually tell you a reading order
Nice.
of
Yeah.
what to read with all the books, where to start, and where the Blackest Night issues actually fall in. So
I'm pretty sure I have that flyer somewhere. I got that from the comic shop. I picked it up with a checklist so I could get all my comics.
credit
Yeah,
to them for
I
that.
love a wee checklist. I like them.
Shall we have a look at some pictures of this book? Not some random pictures, some pictures from this
pictures.
book.
Here's one of
Let's
me.
have a
at the
look at
beach.
our who wants to go first? Shall I go first?
If you want,
Go on.
go ahead.
I'll go first, seeing as how no one jumped in. I picked this gorgeous splash page, double page spread of all our heroes and villains getting a deputized lantern ring, which I just thought was such a cool idea. One of the Guardians opens up everyone's lantern ring so they can produce a duplicate to give to someone else, and they all shoot off. And the Star Sapphire ring goes and looks for Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman has the Black Lantern ring on. So you have to accept a pink lantern ring. It can't just be thrust upon you. So then Wonder Woman fights against the Black Lantern ring to take the love ring, and I thought that was fantastic. And I love that Scarecrow gets the Yellow Lantern ring. and Lex gets the greedy orange lantern ring. I thought that was great. And Flash in the middle looks awesome, doesn't he?
Yes. This page was so cool. And this is when I was talking about earlier with me actually feeling excited. It was this page, and it was the page before this as well. So kind of like that lead up, and the way it was written and the way the panels were laid out, so cool. They're just giving you this kind of build up to seeing what happened. Like, you know, all of a sudden, as a reader, you're surprised that, you know, there's this 24-hour thing where you can be a deputy of a Green Lantern. You know, this rule has now just been revealed to us all, and then we just see it. We see the result of that straight away. And for me, I just felt, oh, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who's next? Who's next? This is so cool. I'm loving this. And then, bam, you see them all in the one page, and it's just absolutely immense. And you know, I'm just very pleased that Flash is front and center as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Totally agree. Blue Lantern, Flash. I love the Blue Lanterns because I think Blue Lanterns is my favorite core because I am a big fan of Saint Walker, and to see one of my favorite characters become the Blue Lantern is monumental for me.
I wanted to ask everyone this question, and I feel like Martin's just brought in a good segue for me to ask that question. And Martin's just answered it, and everyone else can, and it's fine. So, which lanterns do you resonate with most? You can give more than one if you want.
Orange. Because I'm greedy. I want
Totally.
the bar. Yeah, that's
Green. It'd have to be green for me. I
For
just
me,
love
I'm
that. It's the force of will that gets the job done.
It's great. For me, I'm a combination between blue and red.
Oh, hopeful yet angry.
Yeah, like as in, like these are the ones I want to read. Like I'm really interested in how the blue and the red work and what they do, and but they all seem interesting enough.
Blue lanterns actually boost the power of other lanterns,
and they're very humble as well. Very humble, religious, and there's a very small community of Blue Lanterns.
Same.
Maybe I'm a mix between blue and red because they make purple when you combine them.
Why can't you just be an indigo lantern?
Yeah, be indigo.
Indigo is purple.
I like purple, not indigo. Come on.
Indigo is purple.
Martin, what would you say you would be?
Blue all day, every day. I love the Blue Lanterns. I've loved them from when I used to play the MMO. I also loved the Blue Lanterns when they did the Green Lantern TV show, when you had Razor go and get lessons from Saint Walker and Brother Worf, and just seeing him turn into a Blue Lantern at the end of it. As Shane said, they boost the powers of the Green Lanterns, and they're a pivotal part, and they work as a great foundation to other cores. So yeah, Blue Lantern for me.
Yes. Scott, your page next then, because you mentioned that it was the page before mine. So I probably should have picked your page first.
No, this page isn't the page before yours. Bonus, I've got a bonus page.
Oh, the bonus page.
But that's okay. So I can't remember what point this page was, but it's all of the the head of the lanterns, all like shooting their power from their rings at one of the wait, how do you pronounce this? The OA guys. Oa?
Guardians of Oa.
Oa? Yeah, Oa. Cool. Just absolutely blasting them with their power rings. And what I love most about this is just the color. Everything around them is dark, so it just means that everything that you're seeing, is popping right at you. And the fact that they're all outlined with their colors just makes everything come out a bit more. And it's just such a colorful and impactful page. Just visually awesome and very eye-catching.
Yeah, definitely. You can imagine it in live action.
Oh yeah, I would love to see this film in live action.
I like it how you see, because they said it in this part of the story that all the cores had to build together to form the white light to take down the darkness. So you can see them all attacking with their individual colours, then forming into a white glow around the Black Lantern. Stunning.
Yeah. There's just so many amazing pages to pick.
But just on that page is great. There were a few that were like this, and it was almost like here are the lanterns now getting the upper hand, and they come through like this, like a splash page. This is one of my problems with the book. They had this, then the black hand or the Necron would get the upper hand, then it would switch again and switch again. It's like there's quite a few times where this happened. You're thinking, when's it going to end? They're going to keep doing this the entire book, you know.
That's how you get the drama. It looks like the heroes are winning, then they're not. So they have to come up with another plan of attack.
But do it once
it's
or twice.
Good storytelling, Phil.
I think I know, but once or twice, but they done like 4 or 5 times.
Because they were building to such amazing.
No, they wanted to sell all their issues. That's the bottom
line. Martin, how about your page?
I didn't want to go for a two-page spread. I wanted to go for something a bit more obscure. And I just loved when the Black Lantern ring took Spectre. I love the detail on the Spectre, and to see him blown up to that height, and to also make the comment of "I want Hal Jordan back," just is a callback to when Hal Jordan was the Spectre. So for me, it was great. It was a nice scene prior to this with all the magic users, with Phantom Stranger and Zatanna and all those great cool characters, and to see that outburst of chaos to then finish with Spectre here was great.
Kaiju mode.
Kaiju Spectre.
Kaiju Spectre. So
Megazord.
He does this a lot in comics, like grows to this height to fight people. He did it in Injustice to fight Mixius Pitlick. I think he did it in Deceased as well to fight someone. Like he just likes to get big and show off. But he does look really cool.
So yeah.
He does look good.
Could have made it better.
Absolutely.
Phil's page. Why'd you pick this one?
To be fair, like again, I like the moments in this book, and the other one I was going to pick before I realized Scott was actually having his bonus page was when the Atom went through the telephone to the 911 call center, whatever. I thought was really cool. This again, I like the drama of it. It's like the Flash realizes he has to outrun the Black Ring, so he gets Hal Jordan with a chain or whatever, and he just runs. I'm faster, and then the connection is severed because it's too fast for them. I just thought it was such a cool dramatic page. Barry Allen looks really cool there, a really determined face. The effect of him running through the red with the green, because obviously Hal's attached to him. I just thought it was a really cool thing. And then you see the 2 black rings just fall to the ground because they've lost connection. And I just think things like this are really cool. And there was loads of moments like this. It's just a shame that the story in between didn't do well to connect at all.
Do you know why the connection was severed?
No, I honestly just write random.
No, it says in the next page.
He
ran 2 seconds forward.
Oh, yes, in the future. Yes, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
And that makes this page even more epic. Just knowing that that's how we done it.
Yeah.
Again, makes the page epic, makes Flash epic. It's just epic.
And that second panel there shows absolute determination.
Yeah.
And just, he looks so focused, so ready, and he's just, I need to do this. Poof, gone.
Not an ounce of fear on his face. He knows he's going to succeed. He's the Flash.
But the other thing, obviously, to give kudos to the Flash, is that he can't travel in time without his treadmill. So the fact that he did this 2 seconds, he didn't know if he was going to go 2 seconds, 2 weeks, 2 years, whatever. So it took a lot of skill, a lot of focus, a lot of determination again to control that and get just 2 seconds and not like 2,000 years in the future.
He'll be like, whoops. Guess we lost.
Can I just add as well, go back to the OG me, there's rain on that page.
Oh, okay. We're back to regular programming, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Kevin sent a page in. Let's see what page Kevin picked. Did he give a reason, Scott?
He did. And he said, I picked this page not so much for the artwork, which is good, but purely for the time that would have went into drawing this many characters. Now, for everyone listening on the podcast, this is where you get literally every single Lantern character ever, essentially, on one page having a fight. And then you've got some of the Justice League guys in the bottom left corner as well. There Phil's mentioned earlier, some assets there as well. But yes, it's such a fantastically packed page. And it's just, that's all he said. That's all he said.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome.
Even the detail in the background. Sorry, could you just bring that up one more time? It's just even the detail of some of the characters in the background. You can see Blue Lantern Barry Allen, between John Stewart and, if you look in the background, you can see Indigo One, you can see Brother Worf, you can see Wally between Power Girl and Superman. You can even see Mr. Terrific right in the background by Hal Jordan's feet. It's just the detail is not lost, even as far as that far back. Stunning.
I think you're lying. I can't see anything past Power Girl, to be honest.
Phil's initial thing was like, wait, there are other characters on this page?
Don't worry, I did pick up on it first. I just didn't want to,
linger too long.
Scott, you did put a bonus page up, so shall we show that?
I did. I just really wanted to convey that this was the reason I got excited during this read. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's going through each of the deputy rings, choosing, the people they want to represent them. And it's just so great, and just seeing it choose each of these characters, and you go, yeah, all right, I get that. Yeah, okay, cool. And it's all making sense. The only one I don't think that's on this page is Scarecrow and Lex Luthor. But all the other ones are there. And, the last but one panel on the right side where Wonder Woman swaps the rings, essentially. She loses control of the black ring, gets the love ring, the pink ring. And then, but it kind of reminded me of it was very Sailor Moon-esque. The way that goes. And any other grown men here watch Sailor Moon? No, just me. Okay, cool. But it just reminded me of that when it was on TV as a kid. But so good.
It's a great page. And just really, really quickly, I just wanted to show the Black Lanterns and the White Lanterns. So this is when the Black Lantern rings pick all the heroes that have recently come back to life and turns them all into Black Lanterns. So you have Superman, Wonder Woman, Bart Allen, Superboy, Animal Man. I think Ice is there. Green Arrow is there. And he just turns them all. Yep, Donna Troy turns them all into Black Lanterns. And then at the end of the book, we then get to see them all as White Lanterns. And I thought this is a beautiful page. I know it's just white, but it just looks so beautiful, and I just think everyone looks really nice in the White Lantern costumes.
Yeah, even the additions to the logos, look at Superman's shield with the logo in the middle, Flashes with his lightning bolt just faintly going through the logo as well. Amazing page.
I want those as posters, those two. I think, and the one that I picked as well with the colours, I really like those. I think they're just fantastic. The splash panels in this were great. Can I just quickly catch up on some comments? We have, Tottenham Gaming is replying to your question, Scott. Which lantern does he relate to? He says, Red Lantern, easy. I'm guessing she's angry. Kevin says black just because I wear a lot of black, so I'd feel more comfortable in the uniform.
You don't want to be there in the pink one, do you?
Connie says yellow's my favorite color. Can I say yellow? You can. It's for fear, so you can 100% say yellow if you want. But yes. And Tottenham Gaming does say one more thing. He says CW's Barry Allen has never done anything this cool, so he's referring to Phil's page there. That's true. So yeah, I mean, we're all I'm pretty sure on the same page with the art, and we do vary on the story. But what did you think of the writing? Let's start with Martin this time.
I'm trying to think of a word to explain it.
Just one.
Flawless. I'm going to go with flawless. For me, I'm a big DC fan. For me, this is exactly what I want for DC. The writing was great. I love the build up. I know Phil had an issue with the back and forth, but I like that. It drove me through the story. I don't want to read an event where it's one sided. I like to see it go back and forth, and the tables turn, and that fight for the heroes to overcome that next problem. I thought it was great. The use of characters, the use of ones that have not been here in a while, and some of the characters that are, would say, lesser known, like Firestorm. Firestorm's arc in this was great. I loved it. I wanted more from Firestorm. You know, with Deathstorm and the taking of Jason Rush, it was brilliant for me. It's a flawless.
Awesome. Phil, we're
Flawed.
going to do a compliment sandwich.
No, I mean, there's. I like the story. I'm not knocking on the writing style or really. I just think there's a lot of stuff that could have been done slightly differently. But I'm still entertained. It's like Martin mentioned there, the guy Firestorm, and what was his name? Charlie or what was his name?
Ronnie Raymond or Jason Rush?
Jason Rush and Jen, and like Jen. Is it Jen? It was Jen, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Her
Yeah,
death was really cool. I really liked the way she died. Like, turned her. They turned her salt, didn't they?
Yeah.
Connie's asking if she stayed dead. Yes, she did stay dead. She did not
Then
come
why?
back. as a
Why
White
did she?
Lantern.
Don't be salty about it though.
Oh
Yeah.
dear goodness! Wow. Anyway, but I don't know who this Jen person is. Her death was cool, but I wanted her to die that way because I didn't care for her. Do you know what I'm trying to say? There's too many characters to give their moments to make kind of really be worried about it. I just thought she died in a really cool way, and again, I didn't care for Jason and his crying for help or his woes because who is he? No idea.
It's
Yes,
Firestorm.
he was the new Firestorm.
The point for me on a personal level, I've never. It's
Yeah.
the first time I've ever read Firestorm. I've no idea who it is, and I'll be honest. See, I read the wrong book, as you know. The first issue I read of the older book was the one where the Black Hand his origin story. It was really, really good. So you should go back and read it. It was better. It was the best issue I've read of the whole lot. Only it got worse than that book eventually, but that was the best single issue of the whole 11 issues I read. And I wasn't part of the main.
And it doesn't count because it wasn't part of this.
But it was terrific. Like the way his origin, like his family, how he became the Black Hand, and he was a kind of young kid who was like he would like kill the family dog to stuff it. What do you call that? With the stuffed animals?
Taxidermy.
Yeah, he done it to his family dog, and then had it therapy, whatever else, and it was just done in a really cool, creepy kind of way that kind of built him up. But again, if you're reading this Blackest Night without reading any of the other stuff, you're not getting that. Because the Black Hand for this was poor in this book, in my opinion. It was hard to know who was the main kind of bad guy, essentially. The Black Hand, I get, was like the key to the mortal realm or whatever. Then Necron took over, the Black Hand was still there. Then you had all these other villains who had issues with the heroes, and they had their own kind of matchups. I just found it quite confusing unless you are a DC fan, having read all the other stuff. Like, I get it, but it's just, I didn't care for it too much.
The way I look at it is Black Hand. Is that his name? I'm losing my memory now. Black Hand.
William Hand, I think his name.
Yeah, I look at him as like a herald of Necron, like you would see Silver Surfer to Galactus. Yeah, but obviously he's doing his bidding. So that's the sort of, if you want a comparison to who he is, that's how I would.
Silver Surfer and Galactus is a better pair.
The Black Hand was kind of like the gateway bad guy. He's the bad guy you think that you're going to go up against, and then bang, we have Necron, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the real boss. Okay, great. This is what we're going to face up against. But then, yeah, Phil, I understood what you mean about everyone else's personal villains and their bad guys and their rogues or whatever coming up, but I didn't have a problem with that. I said, like I said earlier, what I like about stuff like this is the fact that it's given me that bit of history. So like I just go, I just take it on the chin. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. That person and that person equals not a good match, and it's just for me, I just find I use these events because, like you said as well earlier, I don't read DC. I'm the indie guy, and I've lost my thought. It's gone.
See, I had the same problem. Like, I get ridiculed for my judging of Kingdom Come. It was similar. I had a lot of characters that I've never read, didn't care for. It's the same with Marvel too. Some of the Marvel events, I've read the tie-ins, and they're just trash because it's not because they're written badly or it's a really bad story. I just don't care. I don't know who these characters are. I'm not invested in them. Don't want to care. I get the moments they all had, but like it's just it's things like that part where Kendra Hawkgirl took off her mask and then was somebody different. Like that, she had a different name and long brown hair.
Shayera.
She was the same person. She just had her memories back of her past lives.
That's her first. Yeah, that's who she was originally.
But there you go. But I haven't read that originally to know this. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's there's so many things like this in this book that it's hard for me to really judge it. But I do need to stress the core of the story. I did like.
This book isn't a good thing for new readers. Like, it's okay for new readers and it's good fun. Like, I haven't read a lot of DC. I just read some events that you guys have told me to read and a lot of Batman. Thanks, Phil.
More to come.
Yeah, woo, cool, can't wait. But yeah, so it's okay for new readers, but if you've read some other things or you've watched the films or you've watched the TV shows or you have prior knowledge in other places, you will know some bits about some characters. You may not know everything about everything because that's a lot of time and a lot of books to read. But this, I assume this story is absolutely brilliant for the veteran readers, the guys like Shane who have read every character, they know all the stuff. But I think both audiences can get stuff out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and saying like what you've read from the Nerd Herd. So you read Identity Crisis, so you knew about Sue Dibney. You've read Superman Sacrifice, so you knew Maxwell Lord when he came back. Wonder Woman killed him in Sacrifice. He came back.
Yes, I forgot about that, but
yeah me too.
But yeah, so I totally get it, and it's just it is a big book with a lot of characters, and I totally understand. No one's going to know who everyone is. That's just ridiculous. No one can know that much about a book going in.
Yeah, it's like what I said with the Batman part, where they realize it's not the real Bruce Wayne. I've said earlier on, like that's the only one I actually relate to because I know that. So there's I've now connected that part of this story to what I know about the Batman stuff. Where that's why the other things I don't care for. What I will say though, and Scott knows this, that I haven't been the biggest Flash fan over the years. I've definitely got into it a lot more. I think Wally West is still the best Flash. But for me, the best part of this story was Barry Allen. I think he stole the show, and it makes me wonder. Yes, I get their lanterns, Black Lanterns, but like this is like a Flash story. Like without the Flash, they wouldn't have won. Essentially, you know what I mean? Like he was the main guy for me in this.
But I love the part that Wally played in it as well.
Yeah,
because when Barry had his little issue where he was getting overwhelmed, Wally came in and they tag teamed.
Yeah. Great.
I was hyped from that moment on as well because to see both Flashes together tackling problems together was amazing, and it was sort of like, when Kid Flash put the suggestion for what we're going to do, and then they both put an option forward, and we're going, we're going with the OG for this one. You know what I mean? What do you think, Barry? Okay, we'll do this. Loved it.
I just think for something like the Green Lantern and some of the other big characters in this. For a new person, as Scott mentioned, it's okay for new readers, but a new reader would benefit more reading these characters in a more self-contained story to understand them a little bit more before reading this. And that's where I'm at with it. It's not that's bad. It's just I wish I'd have done some prior reading before just to kind of get a better grasp on some of the stuff.
That's fair.
I agree.
I mean, Connie says her favorite parts were the best part of the story was the human element. It was the first few issues where they were having the Heroes' Day to remember those they'd lost. And I mean, and that's fair. That was a good part of it. And I get it. Connie isn't a massive DC fan, is she? Connie's like more Marvel anyway as well. So I do get it. I completely understand. I think this would be a good, not a jumping on point for new readers, but this would make anyone reading this want to read other characters in this book because they're so well written and you find out enough about them to make you want to know more. So from this, you could span off into a Flash book, a Green Lantern book, the Lantern Cause, you know, Justice Society, Teen Titans, Justice League, whatever you want. If you want to follow, exactly, you could follow a character from this. Hawk and Dove, Hawkman, Hawkgirl. Like, there's so many here. You could follow any of them into another book if you like them enough.
What I did like, is like there was a spell. I think it was after the heroes and villains deputized as the Lantern, and they all played up to like their color at one point, like their whatever it's meant to be. So obviously, Luthor wanted all the rings to himself. I can't remember is it who's Compassion? Indigo.
Yep.
And like they were compassionate at times, and obviously Mira had the rage. Like, that's done really well for things like this here. Like, just to build it up that way, that we were really going to show what each color is for and what they do, and I like that a lot. And as Connie mentioned, the human thing, the idea that they had this Remembrance Day, it's letting you know, the reader, here's all the dead heroes, here's the ones going to come back. So it does a good way of putting it together like that.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, this was one of the books that you're reading. I mean, outside of a crisis, this is the book where heroes died. You know, you're not used to that in comics. Even in 2009, you weren't used to so many people dying because we had no idea it was going to end in a White Lantern story. And if you're reading this month to month, you're just seeing hero after hero after hero die. You know, that's all you're seeing. And you have no idea what they're going to do. So this was like a really big deal back in the day. And I get it, you know, that it's all been undone now. So that is what it is. But back then, reading this monthly, I was just like, how are they getting out of this? It's just so much fun.
The impact is there because I think it was what Connie said. This the first issue. It told you and really went into depth about the sheer loss that this universe had taken from all the people across all the cities and all the way across this world of who's died, who's gone, who they're mourning for. It set that foundation of mourning before the build-up of the crisis came. So it put you in that mindset ready for something epic.
Yeah, I think it did a really good job. But I think we should probably wrap this up because we do have Herd's Choice next week. So we're going to need you to pop in the chat and tell us what you want us to read next week so we can do the wheel. And we'll do our final thoughts and scores while you pop them in the chat. And if you've obviously read along, pop your score in the chat and we shall add it to ours, as always. So let's get on to the verdict, shall we? We will start with Martin.
Okay. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet because we're on time. So I love the artwork. Story was flawless. I loved all the additions of all the characters. You know, even some of the silly ones like Pariah making an appearance. You know, everything was great. I love the backstory that was brought into this. I love the fact that you needed to know more about the DC universe. That was a plus for me. The only thing that I'm going to pull this down is what I said before, was that gap between 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, where I wanted to know more. I have to give that a very slight deduction because I just felt like I wanted more from that part. But for me, this is the biggest score I'm giving this whole season so far, so I'm going at a 9.5.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Epic.
Nice.
What's so funny,
Phil? You're laughing.
I'm just perplexed. But
well, let's just like get this straight, right? First time you read this, your wife was in labor, so it was a very stressful time. So you obviously didn't read this correctly. And the second time you read it in one go after reading 3 issues of the wrong book in one day. So again, you didn't read it correctly. So let's hear your final thoughts and scores.
But just add on 3 points to whatever you do.
What a way to make my score credible. Goodness me. No, I didn't mean to laugh. I'm just doing what Shane does, because Shane laughed one time before at someone's score. and I just thought I would play the part today.
It's all good.
Um,
I'm a DC fanboy, so I'm quite happy. I'm sticking with my score.
and I'm not. And Connie took the words out of my mouth here in her comment. I'm not the target audience for this book. This isn't for me. I did like the story, but again, it could be done in the Marvel universe with different characters. It has been done in the Marvel universe with different characters. There was great moments, like the hero and the villains deputized and the lantern, the White Lantern showing up, all the Green Lanterns answering John Stewart's call. These are all really cool moments. Like you mentioned, the Wonder Woman, and she'd accept the ring. Wouldn't just go to her. Things like this, and it's done really well, and I really liked it. The art's flawless, Martin. The writing is slightly flawed, but there's so many things that all the characters' personal stories that I couldn't get on board with because I don't know them. Like Green Lantern mentioned, how many times did he mention like the Parallax stuff? I don't even know who that is. Who's Parallax? I'm assuming he's killed Hal Jordan at some point in history. But who
He's
is
the
it?
entity inside of the Yellow Lantern ring.
There you go. I
Took
don't
over
know.
Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan became Parallax for a while.
And it's all well being told this now, but before I would have liked to know before I read the book, or at least kind of picked up on it as I'm reading. So it's things like that I struggle with. I'm just not a big DC fan, but I did enjoy the story. It's not bad. I'm maybe being a bit generous given the way I've spoke about this book today, but I'm going to go 6.5.
Cool. 6.5.
Getting Kingdom
Scott.
Come flashbacks.
Kingdom Come's miles better than this.
I feel like Phil is just feeling a little bit funny about Reckless, the score we had last week.
I am, but bear in mind, Reckless wasn't my pick, so I don't care for it. But like how I got a 4 is baffling. Anyway,
Agreed.
Anyway. Shane, did you say it's me next?
It's you next, Scott.
Cool. Okay. What an absolute fun read this was. It was really cool. Like, obviously, I'm not going to ignore the fact that there were issues, but the only issue that I had personally was the fact that you could tell that there were tie-ins. But, going around that, they did a really good job at making sure you weren't really missing things. Yes, you were missing the adventure, but you got the destination, of the tie-ins in the main storyline. And I thought that was done really well. And everything else is just optional if you want to read it. The art is bloody beautiful. Really, really great. And I also love the fact that this story created history and created lore within the DC universe, and more specifically the Green Lantern side of things. Really, really great story. I loved it all the way through. It's going to be a 9 for me.
Nice. Awesome. I will give my score. So you've got a few more seconds to get your Herd's Choice and your score in the chat. So for me, I love this. I loved it when I read it the first time, month to month. I was excited for it when I knew it was coming out. I loved it as it was coming out, and rereading it, I still absolutely loved it. There were things in it that I'd obviously forgotten that had happened. I obviously remember the main plots of it, but rereading it and things are happening, and I still felt that excitement as I was reading it, and that doesn't happen very often, especially on a reread for me. This is one of those books that I absolutely love. I have all the tie-ins, I have all the variants, all the prints, everything that goes with this, I have it. This was my favorite event that DC had ever done. I absolutely love it. And yes, I can sit here and I can nitpick it. Anyone can nitpick even their most favorite book. But they're very small nitpicks, and I will acknowledge them. So it's not going to be a full 10, but it will be a 9.5 for me as well. I do absolutely love this book, and I will reread it again and again and again. Stop laughing, Phil.
Okay,
we
cool.
do have some scores in the chat. Did you grab them all, Scott?
I did. We should talk about them
fantastic.
because lately I've been forgetting this bit. So we had a comment at the start of the show from Aussie Aaron. He says, "Hello from down under. I can't stay as I'm getting ready for work, but I wanted to share my score for Blackest Night. This was a great book, terrific art, and never a dull moment. Got to be a mighty 9. So we gave that a 9. And then at the end of the show here, where are we? So with Tottenham Gaming, we have a 9 for this, and for his pick, He's picked that. We'll get onto that later. Connie, she's given it a 6.5. I'm not the target audience, so a lot of it was lost on me. And Kev has said, I'm going to be the black sheep of the herd and give this a 5. I really struggled to get through this. Maybe if it was 6 issues and tighter, it would have been a bit better for me. So there we go. So those are our 4 scores we've got tonight. So 2 9s, 6.5, and a 5. That gives us 7.4. Adding that onto Phil's 6.5, Shane's 9.5, my 9, Martin's 9.5. That gives us an average of 8.4. If you've been here before, you know at the moment this lands on the top 10. Let's see where it is. It's taken 4th place, pushing down Daredevil, Born Again, MMPR, TMNT, Thanos Wins, Fantastic Four Full Circle, and pushing Self-Storage off of this top 10 list.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice.
Here's the rest of the leaderboard for you guys to see as well. And there we go.
Is it really better than Daredevil?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was Daredevil?
8.3.
8.3.
Literally 0.1, Phil.
On the same. Come on.
Right. So now it is time for our herd choice.
I
So
love this
we-
part.
We've only got 3 in this time, but that's okay. That's okay. We've only got 3, but it just means there's more chance for you as a herd and a viewer to win. So we have 3 in. We got Lee. He messaged one in earlier. He wants Batman versus Bigby. He's kept that on the list for a while. We've got Tottenham Gaming. He said he wants Spider-Verse from 2014. And Connie, 4.
Oh,
is there a 4th one?
The Aussie
There's a 4th
guy
one.
put one in.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Let's
got it.
find it.
Superman, Batman, Volume 2. Okay.
That's the one.
Let me just plug that in. Superman, Batman, Vol 2. So 4 then, which is great.
25% chance, everybody.
25% chance. And Connie has said, "The me you love in the dark."
Ooh, that sounds
That's
like
what-
a horror book.
That's what she
Scotty Young.
has asked for.
Ooh.
Almost some Scotty Young. Let's do that.
Yeah. Ooh. There we go. Okay, so are we ready?
If you leave it on me, I can't spin round
Whoa,
like the
whoa.
like the-
What happened?
I've
Very
been trying.
laggy
I've been
for me.
trying it. But...
Okay, let's give it a few shuffles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Full screen. Press go. Good luck, everyone.
Come
Come
on.
on, Spider-Verse.
Great. Da, 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 da. There we go. It's landed on Connie. The me you love in the dark from Scotty Young. There we go. That's awesome.
Connie does good picks. We really enjoyed Sabrina, didn't we?
Yes. She's done other picks
So-
as well.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
Sabrina jumps
Wait.
to mind because that was really
She
good.
didn't pick Sabrina.
That was
Which is-
Beth.
Did you not? Oh, that was Beth. Oh, my bad.
But Connie
All women
picked
look the same to me.
Hotel.
Sorry.
Hotel.
And which
And
is
Hotel,
Witches.
yes.
Yeah,
Witches
witches.
as well.
Yeah.
Calm
We
down,
loved
Shane.
Hotel, didn't we? Faces on
Mhm.
ceilings, and yeah, we loved
Yeah.
Hotel. Let's hope this is as gory as that.
I think it's Scotty Young, right? But Jorge Corona does the art, so it's the same team from Middle West, I believe.
Okay,
Nice.
I'm going for that.
nice. So that was The Blackest Night from DC Comics from 2009. I picked that. Next week is Herd's Choice, which is going to be a good one, I hope, because I do enjoy books I've never heard of, going into them and seeing what they're like. Up tomorrow on the channel, we have Kev. Is that a? Can you?
Yeah.
Is that a video? Yep. We have Kev's draw along tomorrow, and who's Kev drawing tomorrow?
He is drawing
Yeah.
Green Lantern. How to draw Green Lantern. There it is. Hal Jordan looking really cool in the background there. And don't forget, we got Kev's little chibi in the background as well.
I love that.
So good.
The hard light picture.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Absolutely amazing. And also tomorrow at 8 on this channel, we have the premiere of the Dawn of Comics Quiz Night, which is a movie edition. So if you know movies or you think you know movies, join us in the chat and play along. See if you can test your movie knowledge with us. See who wins. Be a fun one. So yes, I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that everything? Am I forgetting anything?
Not this week.
Scott,
That's
come on,
everything.
you're normally okay. Good.
You're forgetting one thing. If you did forget one thing, your waves. Get them out.
Lost his voice.
No.
Get your waves out.
Get your waves out.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Love you.